Peace. My name is Queen Yonasda Lonewolf, and you are tuned into All Hip Hop.
Go ahead. Say your rap. We running. Come on, put your mic up.
No.
What?
No.
What's
your first rap?
I can't remember my first rap. It was something stupid. My name is Chucky C. I'm in the place to be.
Hey.
Hey.
Mine was like, my Nikes on my car. Something in. I don't go far. Something like it was like that. And I was going to biggity.
Oh.
Yeah.
You was like on the
Biggity
Chris Crab.
Like I was like.
I did have one like that. I can't remember it though. Anyway, what's going on, everybody? This is Chuck Creek, aka Jigsaw, here at One World Studios for allhiphop.com, and we have Queen Yonasda in the house. Yes. What's going on?
Your co-host for the day.
Co-host for the day.
Yes.
We're gonna chop it up. We good friends. Everybody knows that already. But this is like my first time actually interviewing you by yourself.
I'm nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about here. This is family. I'm not even gonna ask you. I'm not gonna ask you. I'm not gonna ask you
everything about my life.
I'm not gonna ask you anything crazy.
Okay.
And you already have the answers because you've been talking to people all day.
Yes, I have. Promoting Copwatch America on BET.
Yeah. So let's talk about it because Copwatch to me refers to organizations and movements, not a BET show. So talk to me about the show.
The revolution is now televised.
Don't be quoting Gil Scott.
Yeah, the revolution is now televised.
Now, it's my understanding this is reality show like.
It's a docuseries.
A docuseries.
It's a docuseries, and so basically they was following us since July. A crew from Atlanta and a crew from New York. And basically our different ways of fighting police brutality. Here in New York City, you have cop watchers that are actually an organization. And then you have some in New York that are not cop watchers, but they're part of BLM Greater New York. And their tactics of what they do to fight police brutality here in New York. In Atlanta, you have myself. I'm a national community organizer, activist. 4 of my cousins been murdered by police. 8 of my friends have been murdered by police, and 2 of them have been my friends' children. So not only am I an activist on the front line against police brutality, but I'm also a family member, and it hits home for me, you know. And then you have Attorney Gerald Griggs, who's an attorney. He called him the justice fighter. You know, he's on the front lines with me. I'm not from Atlanta, but when I moved to Atlanta, he was someone that I clicked up with and figured out, okay, what can we do here in Atlanta? And he's the one that referred me to be on a part of the show.
Wow.
And then So and then you have Shar. She's a community advocate, a media personality. She does a lot of great hosting, red carpet type of things like that. And then you have a new activist by the name of City. We've been knowing him for about a year now. We met him during the Waffle House sit-in when we was protesting for Shakisha Clemens against the Waffle House. And then there is Patrick. Patrick was also a part of BLM Greater New York, and I'm getting to know him as well. And so it's basically our different ways of how we fight police brutality. So New York is focusing on catching everything on camera, and then Atlanta is after it's on camera, what do we do? How we fight it.
You're part of the organizing part.
Yeah, I'm part of the organizing part, getting it out there, setting up the marches, protesting, city councils, like whatever it is that we have to do to push laws, legislation, things like that.
So how has the experience been for you in terms of documenting this, for the cameras to be on you rather than the other way around?
Oh my goodness, Chuck. It was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because, I was born in a movement. Like I literally was born with my fist up. I was born during the longest walk, which was a protest from Alcatraz, San Francisco to Washington, D.C. I've been around all greats. Name a revolutionary freedom fighter. I've been around them. So to be in this position to say, okay, document and follow me on this work that I'm doing was a difficult position for me. But I took myself out of it and realized, use me to be able to amplify these stories that didn't get a hashtag. These activists that don't have a certain platform. So every scene that I'm in, I'm with other grassroots activists that are in the mud, and I'm with the families. And then also too, I really, really wanted to make sure the cameras follow me to Pine Ridge, South Dakota, which they did.
Okay.
Because Native Americans are murdered at a higher rate than any other race. So that was really important to me.
To this day.
To this day.
That's crazy.
So the cameras followed us, and I had a group of Ferguson activists come with me, Tori Russell, and and it was great, and so, but for them to be able to document that, to not only talk about Black Lives Matter, but also Native Lives Matter as well.
And a lot of people don't know. Well, most people know you have
my mother
two
was
sides.
my mother was full blood Native American, and my dad is Black.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm enrolled in tribal member of Oglala Lakota.
Okay.
Pine Ridge, South Dakota.
I used to think I was Native when I was growing up.
Yeah.
You know how Black people do.
I got Indian in my family.
Right.
My great-great-grandmother's a Cherokee princess.
But my name is Creekmer. So
right, exactly.
It was a little bit different. It was a little bit different. So we used to hear things, and then Google happened. And I was like, it's not coming up.
Yeah. Or Creekmer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not coming up. I was a little disappointed in that.
You didn't find it?
Not as indigenous American. No.
What did it come up as, a slave owner?
No.
What?
German.
Wow.
So that's an exclusive. German.
Wow.
I don't believe it still to this day. So I stopped looking after I saw that. I stopped looking. But I'm gonna look further.
I went to the creek, and that's crazy you said that, because I was driving from Shakisha's trial in Alabama to back to Atlanta, Georgia, and I saw the Creek Nation, and I was like, you know what? Let me pull over and go. And I pulled over and went to the museum, and they said that they are the people of the Creek, and that's the reason why Creek where that came from.
Now that's not to say that I don't have Indian in my family. I just don't know yet.
Yeah. Well, 89% of African Americans have Native in their lineage. Yeah. So it's somewhere down the line.
And pardon me for saying Indian.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not but it's good because but I get it, because if you go to the reservation, there's still people that be like, I'm Indian.
Right.
And that's the decolonization process that we all have to go through.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, the show, shout out to my man P. Frank, by the way.
Yes.
P. Frank, who, is one of the producers.
Yeah,
and,
executive producer, co-executive producer. Mm-hmm.
And, P. Frank's been doing this thing for a long time. And he's from the Bay, Oakland specifically.
Yeah.
And that's a hotbed for activism and movement work and everything. I mean, on a whole nother scale. So, shout out to him.
Yes.
So let's talk about a little bit now about where we are here. Now, I find it a bit ironic that BET, owned by Viacom, is doing this show. Can we get the truth? And that's no disrespect.
Right.
I love BET and all the people there. I used to work there, everything, the whole nine.
Yeah.
But obviously, sometimes you can be a little concerned with, will we get the real?
Yeah. That's the thing. You will get the real. All of us are being exactly who we are. And then if you see ego, they're being exactly who they are. They're showing their name. I mean, that's the thing, and we're all passionate.
Right.
And that passion comes out in different ways, and it's usually power, ego that could easily divide a movement. We've seen that in so many different things. And so, and you'll begin to see those nuances happening on this series, and but our biggest fight is against the police officers, but no, everything you see is exactly what we're doing. There was Oscar Kane. He was an activist that was murdered in Atlanta, Georgia, just in April. A police officer shot him in his back, unarmed, and we did a rally. And and that was the thing. Like everything we organized, I was just like, you all want to film this? Come over and just film it. And that's exactly what they did. So a lot of the things that I'm a part of, they didn't produce or nothing. They just, they was like, Queen, just do your thing. And that's exactly what I did. And that's what I loved about it. And so it was just a nice rally that we had. But it was in my spirit, like, no, we got to take these streets for Oscar. And that's exactly what we did. And it was an impromptu. We're taking over these streets. We're going to shut it down for Oscar Kane. And Oscar's mother, she was like, wow, for the first time, I actually got to feel what my son was doing. and Oscar's daughters. I'm sorry, sisters. So that was a very, very emotional. But it's a lot of those type of moments that we had. I was packing to Ferguson and talking with my son, and that was none of it was produced. None of it was directed. It was very, very. It's a docu-series. It really is. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the current era where we are right now, I remember, back in the day, you would see Rodney King.
Yeah.
And Amadou Diallo, and most of these weren't televised. Obviously, Rodney King was.
Yeah.
Someone recorded it.
Yeah.
But most of them weren't. And the marches were huge.
Yeah.
Massive outpouring of love, support, outrage even. Yesterday we had a day of outrage.
Yes.
I was a part of it. I went.
Oh, good.
But it was a couple hundred people, which
Yeah.
I was actually happy about because the crowd got.
We had 28 cities.
I know.
Shout out to Until Freedom organization,
Absolutely.
all the other organizations that was around us helping
Definitely.
to do 28 cities. So.
Now, in your opinion, has the saturation, has it caused people to be desensitized?
I'm feeling numb. And if I'm feeling numb, then I can only imagine what everyone it is. And that's the sad part.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I try my best to connect with our people. We have to be able to talk to our neighbors.
Absolutely.
We need to get off of social media and really connect again.
Yeah.
When I was in Cuba, I saw life. I felt life because I didn't see anyone on their phone. They wasn't like this. Everyone was actually talking. Children was playing.
They don't have internet there either.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful
Right.
thing.
Not like that.
Yeah, not like
Right.
that. But it's a beautiful thing. And I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow, this is what life was like.
Right.
So in order to desensitize ourselves, we need to take a break off of social media.
Yeah.
We need to connect with our neighbors and with the people in our community. So if Lord forbid, if someone does get shot or murdered, we're feeling that because we're feeling human connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have lost our human connection because we're so much on digital connection, and that's where that desensitizing is happening because we're losing that human connection.
What about armchair activists, tweet activists,
The ones
Instagram activists? People that are really going hard, but then they don't. Maybe they secretly watch the NFL, or maybe they don't do anything, but they feel a sense of almost belonging to the movement without actually doing anything.
You know what? My lack of experience and knowledge, I used to say, man, I don't like those Twitter activists, but no, I do. I do after Standing Rock. Okay. We needed those people that could not go to Standing Rock to tweet. Right. To face, to reshare. I always say there's different positions in revolution. And so those different positions, I do not, as long as you're doing something, just do something, because it's not a lot of us that's doing something that even care. And so we need more people to care and more people to do something. So I don't hate on them. Like I used to. Yeah. Because I was angry. Like, why aren't they out here with us? But now,
I've noticed
you tweeted, you posted, about Standing Rock.
Of course.
And so we needed that. We needed you to reshare our interviews and things like that.
In that group though.
No. But I mean, we needed that. We needed that trend.
Being media is a different type of engagement. I will keep it real with you. I haven't done as much in the last couple of years. Yeah. Because it's painful. It's like you have to protect your soul a little bit. And almost to me, this is by design. Anytime you could see someone getting shot in the back.
Yeah, I know.
Or someone getting shot on Facebook Live or choked out over a Lucy, which is a cigarette, which they, deem illegal or whatever. But come on. Those things, after you see that over and over. Now someone else might be able to be, oh, shoot, I don't, on Facebook, some other folks may not care. Or it's easy to look away. But for us, it's extremely traumatic.
Because we still have that connection to humans. It's once you get into that matrix and you're stuck in there, then it turns into like you're watching a movie or a video game. You know, you have to unplug. You have to unplug in order for you to feel again, in order for you to see again. And that's something that I love, that being Ogallala, Lakota, you know, being Native American on that side, and being indigenous, a original woman, to be connected to the land. So, you know, when I go out to my reservation, I'm going to my ceremonies and I'm connecting, and my phone doesn't even work, which is a beautiful thing. I'm connecting to my family and the land and everything. And so it's important to do that.
Now, let me ask you a tough question.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of discussion between the relationship between black and natives, in that, like you said, we do have that blood in us, a lot of us. And sometimes they have just booted us out, because there are some financial incentives as well. Has that ever been addressed? Is that being addressed? How?
Yeah. So the big fight was the Cherokee Nation, when they was they was having those that were enrolled and de-enrolling them, the black Cherokees or the freedmen's, that was on the Dawes rolls, and that was a major fight. They won that fight, the freedmen's, so they're now back enrolled. The fact that even happened, but I look at it because I'm on both sides here, because I see both sides, but I also see our common enemy, and which is our colonizer. Well, the colonizer, if you allow him to continue to colonize us, you know. And so I see exactly who our common enemy is, and I'm like, why don't you see it? You know, it's not because we all are oppressed. None of us are free, even though. My people are on a reservation, on sovereign land. We still not free. We are the poorest community in the United States in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Our suicide rate is the top in the nation. Drug and alcohol. So we're not even free. So even if if we have our own land, you know, on my black side, and my black folks are like, if we have our own land, if we separated, we still dealing with the colonization mind, the colonized mind. So we have to get away from his mindset in regards to how we handle and deal with each other, even ourselves. So, I mean, so where does depression come in? That's hopelessness. You know, that's lack of love of self. There's a lot of that. So it's like you have to be able to know thyself. And when you truly know thyself, then there is no depression. There's none of that, you know. And so there is that separation. And I'm constantly trying to bridge that together, because I'm like, when you go into the res, you know, it looks like the hood. When you go into the barrio, it looks like the hood. The hood looks like the barrio. You know what I'm saying? Like in everywhere you go. When I was in Cuba, I was like, man, this looks like a decked out nice version of Pine Ridge, South Dakota. You know, so, and I'm seeing the same people everywhere I go. I don't see, when I go onto the reservations, I don't feel different. Because my mother raised me to see our similarities more than our differences. You know, when you see the beadwork and you go to Africa, you see the similarities of the beadwork of certain parts of Africa. Our regalia, this jacket.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know, thank you. This was my mother's. You know, you see the similarities of certain parts of South America.
Absolutely.
You know, our drum, our songs, our regalia, even the language is our traditional languages from Africa to even here throughout Turtle Island. You know, it sounds very similar. We're all connected as one. And so I feel that we all, black, native, so-called Latino people, so, you know, Asian, like we have to go through a decolonization process.
That's tough.
Yeah, it is.
Media, I mean, we're inundated with white supremacy. So
we are. But the number one, because I had to go through I'm still going through a decolonization process. I still have my certain things that I'm like, okay, I got to break from, you know. But I went through a process of the beginning process, and that was to look at our similarities. To see our similarities more than our differences, to not debate on our differences. I cannot stand that. I don't like that. Like, it's like, okay, well, what about the paper genocide? And they try to, erase black people out of the native, native lands and da-da-da. That's because white folks wanted the land.
Right.
White folks, they paid $5 to be an Indian. So you think that they wanted the slaves, the former slaves, to take the land that they were still trying to take more and more and more? Nah. You know what I'm saying? And then they raped, they bought Native women, because the women were the caretakers of the land. They had ownership of the land. So they knew, like, okay, let's get with this this Native woman in order for us to get more of the land. So it's all about land.
That's crazy.
Even in 2019, our fight in Standing Rock, now our fight in Mauna Kea in Hawaii with the satellite that they're trying to build is land. Chaco Canyon is land. Keystone XL that we about to fight next on the next oil pipeline against the Mississippi River, land.
Right.
It's still land.
It's crazy.
Flint, land. That's environmental racism.
Absolutely.
That was the richest, wealthiest black community, and then there's a reason why they're not cleaning that water. They want our people there.
They want to clear it out.
They want to clear it out so they could come in, and it's all back to land. And until we begin to elevate our mindset to knowing who our enemy is, we got to know who the enemy is and what he did through history all the way to today. Because his game plan has never changed. Right. He's always came and pillaged and raped and took. You killing and slaughtered.
Me right now. You depressing me.
Sorry,
right
but I have to be real. It's all hiphop.com. The real news.
You're making me lose hope right now. Like, okay, I'm going to just go jump in 6 feet of dirt, but do like SpongeBob, bury myself.
No, but the solution the solution is our unity.
Yeah, no.
That's what I'm saying. It's basically it's our unity. Yeah. In order for us to see, okay, you know what? You in this fight over here. We in this fight over here. Let's get together. Let's not talk about our our differences. Let's talk about how we gonna move forward as one nation.
Segue.
Yes.
How has JayZ helped you?
Shout out to JayZ. I'm so blessed. I cried when I got the news. So shout out to Ebro from Hot 97. Emery.
You don't get no love here, son. Nah, shout out to Ebro. I'm kidding.
Shout out to Ebro. Emery from Rock Nation. And I was like, I hit up Ebro and I was all like, man, you guys do these back to school in the hood. I was like, what can we do on my reservation? He was like, send me over everything, the statistics. And I did. Right. He sent it over to JayZ and he said, man, let's help her. And so JayZ took care of 2,000 students on my entire reservation from Puma. So shout out to Puma to give them all sneakers, hats, jackets, hoodies, backpacks, everything. So we're doing a huge giveaway November 8th in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Okay. And so JayZ is.
You got this big smile, like yo,
I know.
Jay's been under fire since this.
You know what?
NFL stuff.
Man, no, let me tell you something. Like what a lot of people don't know. So this might be an exclusive on allhiphop.com. JayZ has helped so many families and so many activists, and not for recognition. Because if he did it for recognition, you all would know. Right. He has been on the front line helping so many of our people, ones you would least expect. It wasn't like, no major organization, nothing. And that's the heart. Right. And that's what I look at. Let me see what, let me call the people in the mud and see who's doing what.
Right. Exactly.
And then that's who I roll with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you could talk a whole bunch of talk, but let me talk to the people that's in Miami, in Overtown, right. Liberty City. Who's helping you? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What celebrities really giving back to y'all? Right. If that's always talking about giving back, right. Chicago, who's really giving back to y'all? Who's in the mud with y'all? LA, same. That's all around. I always want to know, like, who's really, really giving back.
Yeah, that's why I don't personally bash JayZ. I didn't speak out against him. I was actually in the room when they did the whole NFL announcement. Yeah, I was there with Charlemagne and Angie Martinez and a whole bunch of media. And I asked, like, what would be perceived as a softball question.
Yeah.
But it was in my way to kind of just say, hey, man, remind people of everything that you've done, because most people don't know or have forgotten. And everyone else, I mean, the Kaepernick stuff was just every other person was asking about that. And I was like, okay, why am I going to ask that when it's clearly the topic of the hour? You know what I mean? So, you know, so there's a lot to be said about Jay, but I personally, and he said this as well, for people who do the work, you pretty much don't even have to respond because the work tends to speak for itself.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
That's right.
Yeah, so. Yeah,
and the people that do the work, we're not getting these major grants.
Right, exactly.
Because we're doing the work.
It's like
we don't have time to like really like sit there and be corporate and try to like, for real. I was talking to Tori Russell and Ferguson yesterday. We was all like, man. Like, we was going through all of these organizations that's getting funded by the Ford Foundation, all these different people, and we're like, who are these people?
Yeah, yeah. But
and we was actually Googling, like, who are these people?
Right.
We don't have the time. Like, the people that's doing the real work.
Some people are professional grant writers, like keeping it a buck.
So if y'all a professional grant writer, hit me up, because the people that's actually doing the work, we need to plug in. Yeah. Seriously.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Like all across this nation. I know some people that's doing great work, but man, we out here, I mean, we don't get paid for this.
Yeah.
You know, we don't. We don't.
We had my son in here and he brought that up. Like, do you ever feel like just switching gears and moving in those more profitable directions?
What do you mean?
Like, speaking engagements, for example.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I do speaking engagements, and of course, you know, I should get paid for any. I mean, especially collegiate and all of that, you know. But then there's some speaking engagements that I just give me a plane ticket. That I know organizations that are very, very grassroots that do not have it. Right. But no, I mean, most definitely. And you know, I have a book out on Amazon.
Oh really?
Yeah, you never knew that. Called Journey to Peace.
No, not at all. I definitely didn't know that.
I have a book.
Is it your life story?
No, it's a 30. I know everyone's waiting for that. It's a 30-day devotional book of a testimony, just to basically to help you get your journey to peace. Yeah.
There's no peace. There's no justice. So
it's a journey.
How do you?
It's no destination.
Okay.
It's a journey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
So you could. I found my journey to peace. You know, trying not to make sure no one gets me off of my square. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to read that because I'm looking for the journey and the peace.
And then I also have a whole merchandise line. Okay. I have a shirt that I wore on the show. It says, I ain't going back and forth with anyone Harriet Tubman would have shot.
Oh, you made that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah, that's my shirt. You get that Queen Yonasda.
Would Harriet Tubman shoot Kanye West? Ooh.
Oh wow.
Oh.
You know what?
All right, before you answer that, I'm just kidding.
I have so many like Chicago
I'm just
family.
kidding. But somebody literally said that to me today.
And what was your
said
answer?
that Harriet would shoot Kanye West. I'm not saying she would, but I had a meme. I said there's this meme, and it says, I'm just gonna completely explain this question.
Wow.
That I do not advocate for shooting Kanye West.
No, not at all.
And I know she's not gonna say shoot Kanye West, but there was a meme, and the meme said, bring one of them back, and it was, which one would you bring back? It was Marcus Garvey, Huey P. Newton, Harriet Tubman, and Malcolm X. And the person just ran down each one of them and was like, oh, they would just keep killing Malcolm over and over because, you know, he's just, whatever. And then when she got to Harriet, she was like, well, maybe I'd probably pick Harriet. She would kill Kanye West. And that's I'm going to leave it there.
Let's leave it there.
I kind of wish I hadn't asked you that.
No.
But we going to leave it. But I wish I didn't ask you that.
Shout out to the whole Good Music family.
Oh, yeah?
Malik
you doing the politics now?
Yeah, I'm being diplomatic.
Shout out to Malik Yusef, though.
Malik Yusef, Big Mensa. Big Mensa was on the front line with
Big Mensa's working with me on an Oh, you know what? I'm going to recruit you for this initiative.
Okay, great.
I'm working on an initiative for 2020, the election.
Yes.
Artists, activists, people concerned with the way the country's going, and focusing on the election. And Vic Mensa's a part of that.
Dope.
Yeah. So anyway, I apologize for that question, but it's spontaneous. You used to rap. Bust a rhyme. Not your first rhyme, your last rhyme.
Yo, Chuck, you can't do that to me. I haven't rapped in so long.
Oh, you got songs, B.
No, I don't remember anything.
What?
No, I don't.
Come on.
You could get my album, God Loving Music.
I've been in her house. She got her own posters on the wall, B. Come on. You know some of these raps. Come on, stop.
I don't.
Can we talk about your
I was really
marriage?
trying to think. Go ahead. Ex.
So, yeah, talk about being married to a member of Wu-Tang.
Yeah, so my ex-husband is Cappadonna from WuTang Clan. We have a beautiful son, superstar Shamar, who is amazing.
Yes,
he wanted me to tell you that he's been working on his more superheroes.
Oh, shoot. I was at her crib. I drew her son a superhero, but I was the artist, but he was like Stan Lee telling me what to do.
Right, yeah. That's Cappadonna's son and my son, so that's the queen.
Dope,
the boss, you know.
Right. He's a genius.
Yeah, WuTang Clan. Oh my God. The whole docu-series, I mean the whole series is amazing. Yeah. It's crazy for me to see like the way that they're finally telling their story, of just how everything they went through, I
talked to him briefly, and I said, yo, your Winter Wars verse was the greatest verse in history. And it was, man. All hip-hop literally voted it maybe about 10 years ago, like the best verse ever.
Yeah, and it went on and on and on and on.
Yeah, just kept going.
Yeah, and that's crazy because even though he's my ex, I still have a lot of his rhyme books. I do, and I'm gonna give them to our son. But it's like pages of pages, and it'll be just one verse. Right. Like 10 pages of one verse, so that's like his way of thinking and everything, and I learned a lot from him as an MC and performing when I was doing that.
Were you rapping before?
I was rapping before I met him.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we met doing music. Yeah.
Now he anointed you queen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because when I was rapping, I was just going by Yonasda.
Right.
And then he was like, you know what? Hip hop needs a queen.
Yeah.
And like Queen Latifah and all of that. So yeah.
So on that note, what are your thoughts on the ladies in hip hop this year? It's been a great year.
It has been.
Yeah, it's been a huge year, in fact.
Shout out to Mamouna Youssef. Oh my God,
Mumu Fresh?
Yes,
yeah.
Mumu, that is my sister.
We've been trying to get her in here for a minute.
I'm gonna connect you.
Okay.
She's Choctaw and black. She's black and native like me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my sister. Like God, she's amazing. Yeah. I went with her to the Black Music Honors.
Okay.
And she performed and honored Arrested Development.
Dope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
they don't get mentioned enough.
No. Yeah. No, but it was great. They got honored. Rhapsody's album is crazy. Yeah. I'm listening to so many different female MCs. I love. Of course, Cardi. I love Cardi. Like how open she is, and I got an opportunity to meet her at Target after she had her child.
Get out.
Yeah.
Just randomly?
Just randomly.
That's crazy.
And just on the humble. And we was talking about postpartum depression because she was going through that. And I was like, the kid is asleep.
Wow.
She was like, I don't have time to do that. And I was like, just go to, just try your best to get sleep, and you'll come out of that, Okay. And so, but yeah, she was just very cool, down to earth, And I think that's the beauty, is like people just being who they are, and not manufactured female MCs.
We need more. I don't want to say this because I don't want to blow back, but we need more balance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For every Rhapsody, there's 10 of
Cardi's.
Something else, yeah,
or Meg Thee Stallion,
yeah, or that prototype, if you will, and that's not a knock on them, but I would like to see more diversity, and that's not just the women, that's also the men too.
I agree, and you do need that balance in hip hop, but hip hop is the voice of the people. If you ever want to know,
is it really that now, though, or
if you ever want to know what's going on, like I have an 18-year-old. You got a 17. How old is she?
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
tell folks my daughter's age.
Yeah, but she's a teen.
She's, yeah.
And so if you ever want to know what's going on in their world, you listen to hip hop of today.
Yeah, but I feel like the corporations grabbed the reins and grabbed the, what do you call that thing? The reins.
Yeah.
And like yanked it this way.
Yeah.
So the horse starts going that way. Whereas when we rode it, we like, yeah, okay.
But we didn't have the internet. And that's once again that non-human factor. So everything does kind of sound or seem kind of manufactured, or or it's just right there in virtual world. And so that's what's being rapped about. That's what's being talked about. So if you ever want to know what's going on, listen to hip.
But
to
see,
the
I'm
new
tuned
rap
into
music.
people like Tef Poe, who also is actually signed to Tommy Boy now.
Yes.
So God bless his journey and getting, bubbling up. But a lot of artists like him don't get the same views as someone else.
Yeah. And that once again, and that like I could see what you're saying about the manufacturing and they're gonna put their money where they want.
Or you get somebody like Nipsey, who looks like he's the next, whatever you want to call it. I don't like to put a name to it, but and then he gets snuffed.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah,
I don't know. Nipsey's kind of like I miss Nipsey.
Yeah.
I spent time with him last August before he was murdered, with him and Dave Chappelle and T.I. We had a great time, and Nipsey was, as a matter of fact, I met Nipsey at an all hip hop event when I was rapping.
Wow.
And you was doing something about like the next artist. It was like a BET Awards event, like back in 2000 something. And that's when I met Nipsey.
Yo, Nipsey was all around all hip hop back in those days.
Yeah,
every event we did.
Yeah, and then we was talking. I was like, man, you remind me of Snoop, because he did. Yeah. And he was talking. We was just building and talking about like how to take music to the next level and what to do to help our people.
Yeah.
I mean, even then,
Right.
And so,
well, he had a Malcolm X pennant. In like 08 or 07 or something.
That's when I met him in like 07,
right.
like around that time. Yeah, at your event.
Yeah. That's what's up. Shout out to Nipsey. Rest in peace.
I know, rest in power. Like he really, and that's the sad part. Like a lot of people didn't really know who he really was until after he was murdered. And so, and that just goes to show like, you have to be able to pay attention to those that are like a Nipsey. We have a Nipsey in every community, that's like a Nipsey, not identical, but, that's doing great things for the community and that are dope MCs, and that are being voice of the people, so we need to recognize those more. So, platforms like yourself that are, pushing out those type of artists is needed.
Okay. Now, as far as, what's next for you, have this show. What do you have in your wheelhouse going forward? Exclusives.
No, I have goodness gracious. I have a lot going on. You get my book. My merchandise, all of my revolutionary apparel. But I want to be able to call out the FBI in Washington, D.C. and host a press conference against all of they have over 300 cases that are on in just in North and South Dakota alone that they have not even investigated in regards to the killings and the missing and murdered indigenous women and as well as the Native Americans that are being murdered by tribal police as well as border town police. I'm about to launch an Indigenous Votes 2020 to really push for Black, Brown, and Native people to register to vote because our issues are not going to be on the forefront if they don't see our voting power. Right. And so that's something that I'm working on. And
do you ever concern yourself with being targeted in that way? Because we have seen Ferguson activists being basically murdered. Like, let's just keep it a buck.
Darren Seals and so many others.
Do you ever concern yourself with that? I mean, and is the show a way of raising the profile as a way of protecting yourself as well? I mean, is that possible? I mean, we're seeing Black women just straight targeted. I mean, it always concerns me when the women are like now at the forefront.
Yeah. it is a scary position to be in. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that we're all going to have to come to a decision what we're willing to fight for.
Yeah.
And in some cases fight for our death for. And Lord forbid if something ever happens to me, I fought like hell. I fought like hell.
Yeah.
And that's really all that matters, is that I fought.
Yeah.
And I did not lay down. I did not sit down.
Yeah.
I continue to stand and I continue to fight, and that's all that really matters. And, I want to live till I'm in 100 something, and I don't want to be martyred.
Right.
Not at all. I'm not in this to be martyred. I know some people are. They want to be that martyr. I don't want to be martyred. I don't want to be a mural.
Right.
Or or a T-shirt with angel wings.
Right.
If something ever happens to me, I want an entire town that's going to help and feed our people. Another Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
Where it's thriving. And where my children can live, and children's children, and your children's 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 children.
Yeah.
I don't want just a barbecue and some T-shirt and saying okay. Erykah Badu has a song, don't be naming no street signs after me,
Right. Yeah.
We have to do more, and that's what, so that's my wishes.
Yeah.
Is do more, continue, like Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, the people that you said, they laid a blueprint. It's up to us to build on that.
Yeah.
And then so I'm building on my mother's blueprint.
Right.
And she was building on Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull and Rosa Parks and so many people, and so now I'm building on her blueprint, and I want my children to build on mine. So no, I fear nothing but God. And I'm not ignorant into knowing. I'm fearless, but I'm not ignorant.
Yeah.
And I move a certain way to make sure that I'm always on alert.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you.
Chuck.
Glad to finally get this one-on-one done, even though you've been on the site like plenty, even when you were rapping still.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad we got it done. So
thank you.
We'll
This
continue
was
to
our
support.
first exclusive.
Exclusive. Chugga, chugga, chugga.